Hello everyone, welcome back to Really Good Crochet. My name's Ali and today we're going to be joining squares for the Granny Trellis, Granny's Garden Trellis baby blanket. We're doing the joining along the horizontal today and for part one, and for part two will be along the vertical. Now I've done 10 rows of 6 squares, so that's 6 squares that's being joined along the horizontal. In the description box down below, I will put down how many of the flower squares I did and how many of the plain squares I did, as well as how many of each of the colours that I used and how much of the cream that I used. I'll also let you know about there's a couple of other colours to note as well, which will be the yellow and the colour for joining, which is also going to be used for the border, and there's a green colour for the climbing ivy that's an optional extra as well. Now let's get on with the joining. Now I'm keeping this as simple as possible. It's a single crochet chain join that I'm using, so that it's as easy as I can make it for you. It also works very well with these trellis squares. Now then, you want the right sides of your squares facing upwards. And let's start here at this end of the blanket. Now, you need to pop a slip knot onto your hook. You can make your slip knot however you make your slip knot. I take the cut end of yarn, wrap it over my finger twice. I have the front loop and the back loop. I take the back loop and pull that over the front loop. I take the front loop and pull that all the way over my finger, and then I can pop that loop onto my hook and tighten down, but I make sure that my hook can move freely. Now we're going to start by putting a single crochet into that first corner there. So get your chain 2 corner spaces lined up together. There we go. And chain 2 corner space from that square there and this square here. Once that's lined up, pop your hook into both chain 2 spaces, pull up a loop. You've got 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both loops, and you've just made a standing single crochet, or double crochet if you're using UK terminology. And just to note that I use US terminology, although I'm based in the UK. Now, once you've made your single crochet, chain 1. You've now got 2 double crochet here next and on the square that you're joining to. It's going to be nice and easy Pop your hook through the top of the stitch on the square facing you and through the top of the stitch on the square behind you. Grab the yarn, pull through both stitches and both squares, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, join with a single crochet. You're going to do the same with the next double crochet. So you're going to go through the top of the stitch on the square facing you and the top of the stitch on the square behind you. Grab the yarn, pull through both stitches on both squares and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So you've joined with a single crochet there. And then you chain 1. So you've joined your corner space with a single crochet and chained 1. Joined your double crochets with single crochets and you've chained 1. You've now got this space here. You're going to put your hook in through that space in both squares. Grab the yarn, pull up a loop through both squares, yarn over, pull through both loops, and you've made another single crochet and chain 1. Now you've got your first crossover stitch here and behind you. You're going to join with a single crochet exactly as you did with these double crochets, and it's not complicated, but I'll do this slowly. Pull those 2 double crochets apart. You'll see there's a space from the chain space that separates them. Pop your hook through the chain space of the first one. Locate the chain space between the 2 on the square behind and pop your hook through that. Grab the yarn, pull all the way through both squares, yarn over, make the single crochet, chain 1. You've now got another natural space. There's a chain 1 space, and in the chain 1 space of both those squares, pop your hook in through that space and the one behind. Grab the yarn, pull up a loop, join with a single crochet, chain 1. And that's what you're doing all the way down the square. You're joining with single crochets and chain 1s all the way down the square. So now you're at another crossover stitch. Locate that chain 1 space in the square in front of you. Locate the chain 1 space in the square behind you. Grab the yarn, pull up a loop through both those squares, yarn over, pull through both loops. Chain 1. Then you're at another space, another chain 1 space. Join with a single crochet. Chain 1. Okay, so we're at another crossover stitch. So once again, find the chain 1 space between the 2 stitches in the square facing you. Find the chain 1 space between the 2 stitches in the space behind you. Grab the yarn, pull up a loop, pull through both loops, and chain 1. We're up to another chain 1 space, so make another single crochet and chain 1, and then you're at your last crossover stitch. So find that chain 1 space in front and find that chain 1 space behind. Grab the yarn, pull up a loop, single crochet, chain 1, chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1. Now we're at 2 double crochet again. So in through the top of the first double crochet. Hang on, let me just put out some more yarn. So in through the top of the first double crochet, in through the top of the double crochet behind, and then through the second one, then chain 1 and make a single crochet in those corner spaces of the 2 squares. And that's your first, that's it, and that's the first square added on. Now, chain 1, grab your next square, the process isn't much different, it's just a continuation. Pop your yarn into the corner space of the square in front of you, then into the corner space of the square behind. Pull up a loop through both of the corners and make a single crochet. And then you're at the double crochets, which you join with single crochets worked through the top of both stitches. So, through the top of the front one and the back one, pull up a loop, single crochet. Oh, I know what I forgot to do. I forgot to chain 1 after that single crochet in the corner, which was very remiss of me. Well, that's it. Been trying to find ways to film this because this is actually quite a confined space on my little portable desk. But the gooseneck thing that I attach my phone to didn't attach particularly well elsewhere. There we go. And then you carry on in exactly the same way all the way down the next square until you get to the very end. And then when you get to the very end, you join the next square in exactly the same way again. And then in part 2, I'll show you how we join the squares lengthways. And then the final video, I'll show you how I add the border and then the detailing of the climbing ivy to finish the blanket. So we're finally getting there. Oops, very nearly lost you there. So that's joining the squares on the horizontal. I'll see you all for the joining of the vertical. Take care. Bye bye.